Good morning, Anchorage, Alaska, the lower 48, and the rest of the world. This is Bruce Lindquist with this podcast, Wonderful Counselor. If you've been with me, you know that I'm a Christ follower and that there's only one wonderful counselor, and that is my Lord and Savior Jesus. You also know I have been a counselor for 39 years, and I've been writing and recording these podcasts over the last few years to an international audience. Tonight, Wonderful Counselor Podcast continues to bring to you Coffee House Theater with the mini-series called Hide and Seek. Episode 1 was titled, Does Love Have an Evil Twin Sister? The second episode, Hide and Seek. And tonight's episode is titled, Come Find Me. A brief warning, this is a cautionary tale, one with adult themes and references. It's not for children. It was a light, breezy morning. Sun mist-colored clouds danced with the wind as the tide from Ketchikan Bay was receding, revealing 4 figures walking on a rocky, driftwood-strewn beach. Brigett, 8, and her younger sister Candy, 7, were visiting from Cali. Their Aunt Lucy and her dog Caliber, which was an amber-colored lab, were known around these parts as notoriously good for the way they treated people. Out of all their many relatives back home, Aunt Lucy was the girls' favorite. You see, the world of these children was one of controlled luxury. They could have anything they wanted in material things, but what they were hungry for, money couldn't buy. They wanted their parents' time, but both of them were too busy being fabulous as the public waited for their latest movie. Aunt Lucy, in contrast, was as refreshing as a sea breeze that filled their lungs as they walked on the shore. She was the opposite of the girls' parents, modest in means and appearance, with little, never you mind, for reputation or notoriety. For Lucy, it was like finding hidden treasure when she was with her nieces, for they were worth far more than a pirate's booty, and she just loved them. God had brought them, even only a few weeks in the fall, at a time when she needed just one little win. You see, her husband Peter had died a few years back from a fishing accident, and the thought of finding someone else made her ill, so she had become depressed and isolated. Even though she had Caliber, the best cure for being sad was the gift of those girls. Brigett was running with her little green boots sloshing in the water, and then weaving back and forth on the beach. Candy cried, "No fair," as she clumped along with her pink rubber boots. Brigett slowly waited for her sister's little legs to catch up with her. Brigett smiled and said, "So you want to be faster than me?" leaving the question hanging in the air. "Then just take your jacket and lift it up towards your head. That's right, you now have wings to soar like the seagulls." Candy pulled up her wings and soared past her sister. "I'm flying! I'm faster than you!" she cried out. Then Caliber bolted past both of them, as if to say, "Who needs wings?" When you're a child, moments last forever, and for these 2 little girls, they were having the time of their lives. Aunt Lucy looked at the sky. The sun was now completely blanketed with dark clouds, moving in quite quickly. So off they went and made it just back to their home, which was a driftwood-colored 2-bedroom shack. Then the heavens opened and the sky poured like a desert was praying for rain. Lucy watched the girls stare out the window as the tempest, complete with lightning and thunder, shook their little shelter. Lucy noticed some boredom written on the girls' faces and decided to teach them how to play hide and seek. Lucy was it and the girls hid, and like a peekaboo game on steroids, the girls howled with delight when they were found. Lucy then went to make them lunch, and the girls went on their maiden voyage at playing this game of adventure. Brigett was it. Candy hid, but she was not a very good hider, because when Brigett went looking for her, she gave herself away every time. "I'm here," she said under the table. Brigett tried again. "I'm here," she said behind the Davenport. Brigett shared, "I don't think you quite understand how this game is played, so I will hide and you will find me." Candy closed her little eyes, and when she opened them, Brigett had just vanished. Candy called her sister's name, but then remembered in hide and seek you don't tell the other person where you're at. Candy went to all the places she would hide, and then jumped up on the Davenport and looked behind it saying, "I found you!" But her words just echoed until there was silence. Candy was about to give up. "You win, Brigett," she said, but then noticed a wooden coat closet with its door shut. Candy slowly walked up to it, barely opened it, and peered in. It was dark, and she didn't like how it made her feel, but she could hear what she thought was her sister giggling. So she said, "I found you," but no response. "Come on," said Candy, "I'm getting tired of this." Still no Brigett. Candy knew she was in there, so she pushed past the clothes, like she did with her fears, and walked further into the closet, saying, "Please, Brigett, this isn't fun anymore." Goosebumps formed on her little arms when she heard a whispering voice say, "Come find me." Candy walked into what seemed to be a room. It was dimly lit. The smell was sterile, and a body was laying on a metal table with a sheet over it. She pulled back the sheet slowly, and a voice behind her said, "Is it her?" And Candy said, "Yes, this is my sister." Then the dead woman grabbed her arm, sat up, looked her right in the eyes, and screamed, "You found me!" Candy could hear that scream shaking through her body as she came to, followed it out of her mouth as if she was her dead sister, and filled the hospital staff and residents with terror. The nurses came quickly to put this crazed woman back to sleep. When Candy gave them the look that would make even a demon tremble, they backed away. A strange peace then settled on Candy. She composed herself, as if nothing ever happened, and said in a calm voice, "I'm ready to be discharged now." The hospital staff was beginning to think they had been working too many hours. What just happened? Candy asked for privacy, got dressed, made a call, and despite something about leaving against medical advice, she left in a taxi. Officer Megan Asher was still poring over the files of all the dead women when she got notified she had a visitor. Megan said, "I have no time right now," thinking it was someone she'd rather not see. The officer said, "This woman is insistent. Her name is Candy." Megan dropped the files yet again, quickly left her office, and brought Candy back. "What are you doing here, Candy? You were in the hospital," said Megan. Candy shared, "She left. She needs her help to leave the state, as she wants to take her sister home to give her a proper funeral." "I have to do this," said Candy. "I love my sister. Yes, I know I killed her somehow that night with my car, but I found her now, and I need to bring her home." Candy continued, "Can you clear me for a week? I promise I'll come back." Megan shared, "First, you ought to be in the hospital. What did your doctor say?" "Oh, I just left," said Candy. "To let you leave the state now, pending trial for vehicular manslaughter and OUI, is above my pay grade," said Meg. Just then, an FBI agent, Milton Fillmore, walked in and asked Officer Asher if he could have a word with her, in private. He explained, "This woman is our only lead to find out who's draining the blood out of all these women and torturing them to death. I've been on this case since the early 60s. She's the closest lead I have to finding the serial killer." Megan shared, "I can't imagine how frustrating this must be for you. 44 years ago, and you're still on the case. I mean, I'm pissed off about the 3 women who died this year." Agent Fillmore looked at Megan. "I have the authority to let Candy take her sister's body back home to honor her." Candy then was brought in. "Okay, you can leave the state for 1 week," said Megan. "But if you run and don't come back, you may not ever see the outside of a prison." Candy shared she understood. You also have to wear this leg bracelet. It's not like the ones we issue here in Alaska, that could not cover the distance, but this one's from the FBI. And how are you going to get your sister's body back to California? Asked Megan. Candy pulled out her phone. I'll have her body transported to the local base. She'll be loaded on a C-130, and I will leave with her tonight. Candy called one of her old love interests, Ray Sullivan. Hey, remember? You said you'd do anything for me after our weekend in Mexico. Ray shared, well, after all these years you're cashing in, you must really need a favor. Candy briefed him on the situation. Ray said, I'm on it. I'll take care of everything. The hearse pulled up, the body was prepared, and it was taken to base and loaded on the plane. Ray arranged Candy to clear the terminal, and as promised, she watched her sister's body loaded on the C-130. Ray shared, you'll want to ride as my co-pilot? I can make the time really fly for you. Remember Mexico? Candy said, no, this isn't Mexico. I'll sit in the jump seat next to my sister in back of the plane. Candy felt numb with that strange peace, and then she remembered two old friends would be waiting for her, and she kept her hand on the casket until she awoke to the sound of the landing gear coming down. Ray shared, you must have been exhausted. We landed a few times to refuel, and I checked on you and you were sawing logs. Candy looked at Ray and said, thank you. Ray shared, you know I love you and I always have. Candy gave him a reassuring but not quite yes smile, and Ray understood. I'll take care of the transport to where the funeral will take place. I don't leave a mission until it's completed, said Ray. Candy rode with him and her sister's body and then went back to her old place. The funeral for her sister was not one that would have made her parents happy at all. If they were alive, the remaining relatives were there, but no press, no fanfare, just a beautiful tribute to her sister. Those who attended were amazed how Candy was able to hold her composure and commented how strong she was. Candy gave all the customary hugs and thank yous and followed the procession as she watched her sister being buried in a dark blue casket with a yellow family insignia on the lid. Candy held close a white rose and then tossed it on the casket as it was being lowered down. The pastor spoke eloquently from his heart, and she agreed her sister was home in a better place for eternity. Candy returned back to her place, and as she walked in, she saw her two old friends waiting for her. Candy took out a crystal glass. It was her favorite to drink from, and felt that warm sensation of wine course through her body, like coming to bed with an old lover. She drank until the bottle was empty and then set it on the coffee table. She then caressed her other friend, a loaded .38. She pointed the barrel and fired and shattered the bottle. She thought to herself, well, I can only have one lover, and this one was empty. She then put the gun to the side of her head. Well, sister, as we used to play hide and seek, ready or not, here I come. And then she heard these words, come find us. And the gun fired, and all went black. Join me next time for episode 4, just in time for Halloween. It's titled The Body Count.